we're here. We're side by side for Brenda's watching. Brenda Collins
Oh,
prefers.
hey, Brenda.
I don't see her yet, but I just remember last time she's like, "Oh no, I don't like it."
It's like, wait a minute, it's messing with me.
Okay, I do not see us on my Facebook. Maybe I need to refresh, but I'm sure it's there. Okay,
It's there. I'm looking.
Good. Okay. So, hey everybody, it's Monday night. So you guys know Monday nights we always get on here and talk, and the evolution of our show has been healthy habits to all things health and wellness to conversations with Jessica and Felicia to DIY recipes with Felicia and Jessica to what is Felicia thinking tonight. So anyway, tonight we just kind of want to stay in touch with what's going on in our lives, honestly, and take you guys with us on that journey. And so, hey guys, we were thinking tonight, something that we touched on last week was the fact that we are both
moving.
Yep, we're both moving. So the nice thing is it won't affect you guys.
No.
So the nice thing about this format and having all of this online access is that we'll still be coming to you guys, but we're just thinking about like how many people move, how many people could use some tips on moving. Why is moving like one of the top 5 to 10 most stressful life changes? And can we do anything about that? Does it have to be? Apparently it doesn't, because it doesn't stress Felicia out. Spoiler alert, Felicia doesn't get stressed out by moving.
It's my life.
Yeah. Well, but you know what? There's people who move a lot and they still get really stressed out by it. So
yeah,
because you're a coach's wife, and I bet you know other coaches' wives who are super stressed when they have to move.
Yeah, I think I'm always like, if I find out any one of Jesse's players or someone is, because that's usually how you meet, that how they become coaches. Obviously they're players and then they decide, and I'm like, does he have a girlfriend? And they're like, he has a fiance. I'm like, ooh, they already getting married. Does she know? Does she know? I'm like, oh, that's exactly how I'm at. And I'm like, girl, do you get this? The ones that always crack me up are the ones that told me that they didn't start their marriage that way. I'm like, for real? Like he had a regular job? And then he said, I'm gonna go ahead on and coach, not get paid for a while. Cause I didn't go through that. Jesse was already a paid coach, like he wasn't just volunteering all his time. So I didn't go through that. And I'm thinking, wow, wow, okay. So I always just try to like make sure they get that, and you have to be independent. You cannot be one of those. Well, I shouldn't say you can't be, because there probably are some who do it. Then you have to be joined at the hip. I don't know how they work that out, because you become like a single wife, single mom for a good part of the year, and that's just how it goes. And people never get it. They always ask you, now what? It's like he's working. So.
Yeah, it's like I don't know what this has to do with it, but so I was seeing Vanessa Bryant, Kobe Bryant's wife, the late Kobe Bryant, and she was saying how her daughter is applying to colleges right now, and so every time her daughter applies to one, she's like, nope, too far, and it's like still in California, but it's like 45 minutes away.
That's funny. No,
she's like LOL, but she's like, just like I kept your dad here. He stayed in LA the whole time he played, so it's just funny, like, she probably wouldn't have done well with him if he would have moved around. And so anyway, that's one of those.
Well, I think she's really close to her family, which that has a huge, people have to understand that. And I'm close to my family. So the fact that I could adapt, he kept beating it into my head, and I was like, okay. Then when we were doing it, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
This is what he meant.
So Valerie wants to know, are you happy about moving? So we'll both answer. Are you happy about moving, Valerie? I mean, Felicia?
Yes.
You are. So am I. So my move is different. We're having a house built. If you guys didn't hear before, we have been renting this house. I know Glenn's probably gonna be mad for me telling all our business, but we've been renting this house for the past 5 years. And before that, we have been moving around. We were in Northern California. We were in Southern Colorado. Then we were here. So Felicia's moved a lot because her husband has a job where you move. We've just moved a lot for all kinds of different random reasons. And so I'm really, really excited about our move because I feel like Wesley will have a home that's like hers, which brings me to Sandy's comment. Moving without stress only occurs if you've hired people to move. Hire them, sit back and watch. Now, I'm sure that's helpful. But one thing I just wanted to say it struck me was my daughter's perspective. And when we're talking about moving, she's like, yes, yes, right? So she's in ecstasy over it. So why is it that we have to perceive it as stressful or perceive it as some negative? It's a kid has a totally different perception. She's like, new room, new house, gonna get a dog. I'm a lot, well, like she's not, and it's, yes, I get it. Oh, Cornesta's and my mother-in-law who just commented is coming with. The only stress I had is my husband getting rid of things. Oh yeah, so my mother-in-law has, certain decor in her house, and she had like a lot of African decor. So the story goes that she took a nap and he took advantage of the nap. While she was sleeping, he hurried up and got a bunch of stuff and he was like, boom.
No, he didn't.
She was taking too long going through stuff. He was like, I'm out. She's really upset about her panther. She had this like black panther, and so we're gonna find her another panther.
Find her a panther. Oh wow! Was it a picture or an actual? Oh, he just picked some things, or did he just be like, "This is all in this box, so I'm going with it"? Oh my goodness!
You see, the thing that she's like, his guitars and his special stuff. Oh, that was packed with care, and not a thing was missing. Not a guitar string was missing.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
He was like, we're out. So like their move. So think about them in their 60s. They did it all. They packed all their stuff. And during COVID, they didn't have movers. They moved all their stuff. They lifted the boxes, and so. But I think for my father-in-law, it was less stressful because he was just so excited to be doing it finally.
Yeah.
For maybe so much.
That's one of my tips, actually. One of my tips for less stress. And you guys, this is a tip, really, even if you aren't moving, but downsizing. Really, really downsizing and taking a few passes. Like go through. Get everything, a lot of times, you're moving weeks and weeks ahead. A couple weeks later, go through again. A couple weeks later, go through again. Because your eye will get more and more critical. And I'm thinking here, my husband has an apartment in Oklahoma. So and I'm thinking, man, we live in this little apartment when we're here. It's like, wow. And it's fine.
You're okay.
You know what I mean? So it really, and COVID actually helped with that too. But what I really would like to do is like be able to use my closet and not have everything stacked in there so tight. Like you're not wearing all that. You wear your same things. And so it's like, get rid of that stuff. So I really want to take advantage of that.
Is it easy for you to do that? Or do you find yourself saying, oh, I might wear it one day?
I'm pretty good about getting rid of stuff. And I sometimes Jesse's bringing it in as fast as I can get rid of it. So sometimes that's hard, but I throw stuff away. I get rid of it. Now what I would want to do is not even bring it in, because it's like that stuff doesn't just disappear. Like it disappears from your house, but it's somewhere else. And once that hit me, I was like, oh, yeah, like I can't just be consuming a bunch of things and then getting rid of them. So
yeah, absolutely. And then, like, what can we give or make someone else's life easier or better that they would love to be using this that we're not using? Fortunately, I agree with that tip. I have the organizer, my lovely Stephanie, who is she's helping me. She'll be here again Wednesday, but she's like, okay, let's do this. Let's go through this. She's like, okay, when's the last time you used this? Okay. And she was like, why are your bills not all on auto pay? Come on now. She's like, by the time I leave, all your bills are going to be on auto pay today. I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, that is a huge help.
I'm sure you guys can't believe all my bills are not on auto pay, but anyway. And I still have paper checks, but I hardly ever use them. So, okay. Let's see. My dad was never there when we moved. See, that can be, my mom and I did it all. We had
That's my deal.
Yep. And my husband has, for other reasons, not been around at different times. He has, and then he hasn't. So I've done it both ways, with movers, without movers, with my husband, without my husband. I've always had help. People always help me. My mother-in-law, if she's watching, she helped me one time. She came down, she was like, whoo. She was like, you look like a skeleton. I lost like 20 pounds.
Oh, she was like, let me help this baby.
She was like, woo.
She's like, let me help you, feed you. We need to do some things.
You got to stop getting.
We've usually had movers. This time we won't. I mean, I don't know what we're gonna do because we kind of have to do the whole thing. It's a little bit different. So, and I'm guessing he's gonna hire movers because he probably won't be here, or that'll push the move way out. So we need to like buckle down and figure that stuff out.
And then, so like you said, decluttering. It's one of the tips was decluttering, trying to do it as far before you move as possible. And then, like with Stephanie, she's like, right now, so we probably have more time. I'm not sure how much time you guys have, but we're probably looking at about 6, possibly 8 weeks still. So we can actually pack stuff now that we're not using now, and not with clothes. You never know with Colorado. But we can pack things now that we're not using, get them out of the way, get rid of stuff now that we're not using. Same thing. We're going up in size as far as our house. So it's really hard for me because I don't want to, I've done this, gotten rid of so much, and then we move and I have nothing. Like we're in an empty house and I have no furniture, nothing. So then you gotta buy everything. Right. And I don't want to, there are things that we are going to need to purchase anyway, but there's a few things we don't have to purchase everything. So we're going to try to be balanced about it. And the other thing was accept help. I'm taking all help. I'm accepting all help. So if anybody out there needs to, do a GoFundMe, and I'm not for money, but just for go help me. If you guys want to try to go help, you can give me tips. You can show me pictures. I want pictures of like how to organize stuff. My organizer, she's great. She's showing me pictures.
So good at it.
Yeah, she's great. She didn't really know much about essential oils. Well, she's starting to learn now, of course, being around me. But she's just like showing me. She goes, "Oh, I've done all this research on all these different ways you could organize your oils." I'm like, "Oh, cool."
Oh, yeah. So she's in love. She's like, "Oh, I get to organize all those."
She's like, "Do you want alphabetical color? What do you want?"
That is.
I'm like,
"Oh, wow."
Yeah, she said she likes to organize. So, yeah, there was a really interesting another article about the psychology of moving, and then this is what kind of made me think of you too, because so for some people it involves more than moving. It's like we always talk about. There's other stuff under there. For some people, they can't move because they're so paralyzed with like fear. They're so stuck in a place and they're so afraid of what's outside of that. And then for other people, go ahead, speak on it.
I was just going to say, people get people that it's a little bit different because of COVID, and I haven't just been, hanging out with a ton of people or whatever. But I have people around me that get more nervous because I'm moving. They aren't even moving. It's just the whole deal. They're like, "Oh, how do you do that?" I mean, nervous. And I'm like, wow. You aren't even, you're not moving. So
Uh,
just the thought of it and just everything that goes with it. And I don't think of it at all that way. And which I'm glad because like I said, you don't know until you're in it. My husband was like all about it. Like, you gotta, if you're gonna be a coach's wife, like he would always have these talks. And I'm like, and he had took a job in
oh,
Massachusetts and I lived in Washington State. And I'm like, this man is calling me to talk about this like every night. Like I gotta get a lecture
he's doing a
about
pep talk.
being. Oh yeah, he was like really, really preparing me. And so then when I was in it, I was like, oh, this is exactly what he meant. So it takes, that type of person. And I'm sure there's other types that do it too, but it would be a lot easier, I would think, if you are a personality that is okay with change, because you are always going to be changing. And
Isn't
then
it your
you're
yeah.
for your kids too. Like I'm the one that they were around. So how was that put across? Was I like, I was like, oh no, this is what we do. I had to set a few teachers and neighbors straight. Oh my
Mm-hmm.
gosh, that's terrible. I was like, what's terrible? What? And they're like, well, you're moving again. And my child is sitting right there. I'm like, oh no, this is wonderful. A lot of people are stuck in the same place. How long you been here? And you want to go somewhere, don't you? So like I had to like let them know. But the thing is that if you are in
Oh,
a place and you're there forever, then you need to love that because you can put roots down or move. We're not stuck. And then for somebody like me that I'm moving, then I need to embrace the beauty in that. Like you
right.
can't put your stuff, but people would try to put their stuff. I had one of my son's first teachers. She was his first grade and second grade teacher, and she was like, "Oh, again? Oh my gosh!" Well, because she had him for 2 years. She was
Mm-hmm.
like 45 and still living with her parents. She didn't know anything about moving. You know what I mean? So it's like that was like torture to her, but don't put that on us. Keep
Right.
that to yourself.
Right. And but also it's very true. You are more adaptable. That's in your personality
Mhm.
strengths.
That's number one.
That's your number one
Mhm.
strength. So you're like, no, that's not my problem. That's your problem. You can't adapt. I can adapt. Um, but I had the same thing people put on with living together with my mother-in-law and father-in-law. A neighbor of mine was like, she told me, she goes, I told my husband, I think she's going to regret it. And I said, what? She's like, I just think I know you're gonna want your own things your own way. And a woman needs her own. And I was like, we already live together. We've been living together for 6 months. Don't you think I would rather live in a bigger house together than a little one together? We can have our own
Mhm.
space. Like we're already together, we're doing fine. But I think
Mhm.
that other people, it's that stigma of in-laws. Ooh, 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 just like you said, ooh, ooh. People are
Yeah.
like, ooh, you're living with your in-laws. Ooh.
Oh, I love that.
It's like that's your in-laws. It's
Yeah,
not
yeah. Don't
us.
be. I can't tell you how many people will talk. They'll say something about the in-laws or grandma's coming, and the kids are. And my kids are like, why are they upset because their grandma's coming? Like that's like a huge deal in our family. And I thought my father-in-law was going to end up with us, and he died unexpectedly. But I was doing everything. The last few times he came, and he was like, "I'm coming, and I'm staying this long, and I want you to keep your mouth shut because you always try to make me stay longer." So
Mm-hmm.
I was like, "Oh,"
You
but I
got you
thought he was going to end up, huh?
yeah, because you like your in-laws.
Exactly. And we're
Yeah.
and we're a family, and that's just how we roll. So.
Right. I remember one of my friends when her grandmother was coming and the dad would have been his mother-in-law did the Wizard of Oz song like this
No.
when the witch comes. I was like, oh, that's wrong. So he's in front of his kids. He's saying like the witch is coming. I'm like, that is so horrible. And
See, I think that it becomes like a joke, like,
right.
and I think that you have to be exactly, you have to be careful with that. And that's what, like I said, when my kids were like, why are they upset that their grandma? I've had them ask me that over their childhood 3 or 4 times. One of the children, why is he upset because his grandma is coming? And we never lived around family. Obviously, they didn't grow up. So they're like, because grandma calls or we're going to grandma, that's a huge deal. But that's how we put it across too.
Mm-hmm.
Now we
Mm-hmm.
make fun. We make good fun of our family,
Yeah.
but it's never like, ooh.
Right. Or like you don't
So
want them around. Mm-mm.
exactly. Nope, nope,
No,
nope.
I
I
think
want them to want me around with all my quirks and all my
so.
stuff.
Well,
I'm
yeah,
literally turning into my mom. Like I'm looking right now and I'm like, yeah, this is my mom on film right here. So I'm turning into her. So it's like, okay, so I'm supposed to like not love her. We adore her, and that's what they need to see. And all her quirks.
absolutely. Your kids are watching. They are watching how you treat your parents.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Um, but yeah, so mentally is probably the biggest piece of from what I saw that you already have, putting it in perspective. I know, and just even the feel of this is so much different because it's such a pleasant thing, but then that's all in my perspective. When we moved to California, I didn't want to go. So
Mm-hmm.
when I lost the 20 pounds, looking like a stick with a head on it. I want to go. And so I was allowing that negative
Mm.
energy to just consume me. So then I had no energy to like pack because
Oh.
the other thing I was going to say, you got to take care of yourself when you're moving because you need the energy. You need the energy, even if you're not physically moving yourself. A lot of decision making, as we've talked about before, it takes a lot of energy mentally to make decisions. Keep that, throw that, donate that. And you need that energy. And if you're wasting it all on being stressed or not wanting to do it, you don't have it.
Yeah.
So we got to take care of ourselves nutritionally, keep our habits
Mhm.
up. Like, I'm like, okay, get up with the sunrise. Like I told, set the clock forward. So I said, okay, we got another hour to sleep in. So, or that sun rises a little later so we can get up and do that sunrise. Not a problem. That's going to
Mhm.
help us to keep energy up. But yeah, taking care of us, having fun too. Like you said, moving's fun. Like you could say, it's fun to move. And that could be
Yep.
an affirmation. It's fun to
Well, and
move.
you have to, I think people who have, if you, with my kids, all three of them were different personalities, and Jacoby, the baby, was the most, he's the most, like he's the most to be harder to pivot and kind of move through things. If all of us are pretty easy going, but he's the hardest. And so our move before this one, we were worried about how's he going to do and what, he's going to go to high school someplace else and blah, blah, blah. He figured it out before we told him because that's the kind of kid he is. Trey would have been like, Dad's gone. He's gone. Where is he going? It's not recruiting time. Was he like Trey would have not cared about any of that. Jacoby was like, wait, is Dad going on an interview? Getting a job. What is that? What is Dad doing? He figured it out. And so then we admitted it because he had figured it out days before. And then when he got the job, we told him. He was like, what? He was like, let's blow this popcorn stand.
Oh,
And I was like, so that I didn't even have to worry about that. And then he came and went to 5 weeks of junior high. 5 weeks of junior high. And people were like, oh, you can't take them. You can't move them. Why? Who says you can't? Where do you get these rules from?
right.
And so he came, he went, and then 5 weeks he went to school, graduated with kids that he had went to school with for 5 weeks, and walked in there like a champ, did his graduation, then went to high school because that's what we told him that he was going to do. And we looked at everything good about it.
You raise your expectation to a certain level. You raise your standard. Remember who told me that a long time ago when I was like, man, your kids are just so, and they're like, that's what we've set. We've kind of set that as the expectation and the standard. And so that's what they do. They rise to it. But if you set the expectation of, kids that move a lot do really poor under grade slip and, then that's exactly what they'll do.
No, you're not gonna graduate from middle school with those kids that you went with since fourth grade.
Right.
Oh no. And it's like that's how I grew up. So I used to be like, well, I hung out with my cousins and I had to let all that go. They don't know anything about that. So why should I put that on them?
Yep.
As far as you're missing out. Nope. They're not missing out. They're doing this. And so that's what you have to do.
Yep.
Oil, supplements, and supplies will be packed first. All the packing of the oils and all of that is fun because I take so much with me.
I was going to say that actually needs to get packed last here because we're going to use it down to the last second. So anything, extra I could see, but like, you know, just making a list and saying, okay, we need a few days worth of clothes, but like everything else, as we're getting closer and closer, and especially for you moving a longer distance, you're getting closer, a week's worth of stuff, everything else gets packed. Having a checklist. Do you have any other tips that you like? Are you a super like, okay, it has to be super organized when you pack, or you just throw it? Okay.
No, they pack. I the last time I packed myself was when we first got married. And so they have, I think I've had someone pack me every move. So this will be my first time either packing myself again. I think, I can't remember, but yeah. So usually that's how we do it. And then I'm just there doing whatever I'm doing. And then here they unpacked me. I had never had that, that was interesting because you unpack a little bit at a time. They unpacked and put stuff. We still find stuff that it's like, oh, that's what that was. Yeah. And so one thing that I would say for boxes, because sometimes I'll go and pack certain things that I want, you can nest things. So you can take, a smaller box and then put it inside something else and just label things really well. They inventory and label everything. So that was we have like stickers on people. So many coaches' families have stickers on everything from different moves. Well, those are the blue stickers. Well, those are the orange stickers from that move.
Right. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I've had people unpack us before. And the thing, I didn't know where everything was, and it didn't all make sense to me. So I definitely would prefer to unpack, but I know my husband would prefer for someone to unpack so it doesn't take as long, because he's like, when will it be done?
Yep.
But I'm like, but I want to know that everything is in the place where it makes sense for me, for it to be.
It was stressful. And you don't know how you're going to move around the house. So it's not all that possible anyway. So when they're asking me, because, when I got 5 or 6 people throughout my house saying, okay, so I'm going to open this, what do I do? I'm
right. And they're like, come on, tell us now.
Yeah.
They're like, move. That's why I'm glad I have Stephanie, because she's like, okay, I've got the plans for the house. We're looking at it. She's like, okay, so, where do you think you're going to want this? We can even start thinking about that now.
Yep.
It's probably the most planned out, relaxed, the most supportive I've felt in a move. And then I've got my in-laws. They are helping. And
you're going to be able to, go across town and take, certain things and be like, okay, these are all boxes for the house or however, for the bedroom or the kitchen, and then put it kind of, whereas that it doesn't work that way when it's just all one move from one state to the next.
Right. And we have a basement. The last time we moved to an apartment, we had to get storage, and it's just, there's no comparison. The landlady that we rent from, she's amazing. She's like, you guys can stay there until the day you need to leave, and you don't pay a day later than that. I'm like, you're amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's nice.
Yeah, but I'm just still excited. I'm excited for you too. I'm glad that you're moving at the same time as me, because like, I think that also helps me, because when you are moving, then you feel like, oh, I'm moving, I'm alone. I'm like, oh, Felicia's doing it, and she's doing Diamond Club, and she's doing this. So I'm like, okay, you can do it. Then, and I've got all this help, and I'm moving across like 2 blocks down, then I'm not going to be.
So let's talk about what you can do when and this is kind of the same for you, because you're in, you'll be on, you'll have a new block, a new subdivision, or whatever you guys are living in. So this is what I love to do. And Jessica, I think you may have done this too. I don't know. I love to go meet my neighbors first. Like I beat them.
Or you, okay.
I beat them to the punch. And there's power in that, because they're like, oh, I should have came over. So they already feel like, what? And so then I'm like, nope, I know how it is. You saw, I've lived places where people have moved in, but I go over and introduce myself and say hi. And then, cause I want to know who I live around. Yeah. And so I always do that, and I meet them right off the bat. And then, I know who's weird right off the bat. So I'm just saying, there's some weirdos too. So you're like, that out
every time. You're weird.
Yeah. And they may be thinking, you know, like some woman that was like putting her nose out the door. And I'm like, it is bright daylight. My child is right here on his bike. I'm like, what are you doing? And then it's like, you know, so I told her, Hi, I'm a neighbor. I live. As soon as you say you're a neighbor, you live around there, people are like, oh, I saw you moving in. I should have came.
Yeah.
And they want to tell you everything, where to go, what to do, all of that. And I'm like walking, saying, I just wanted to say hi and moving on to the next place. Because it takes a while to do because everybody wants to talk, except for the weirdos. So, and
or they might.
Yeah, she just had her nose out.
Yeah, she was kind of scared.
Yeah, she probably was scared. Maybe she thought I was weird.
We met everyone, like, you know, little by little, of course, like that. Not every single, this is a huge subdivision, but where we're moving, it's still being built. So like there's not, the street is all like new construction.
Yeah.
So when we were over there looking at our house one time, we did get to meet one neighbor. She's going to live on the right side of us, and she's a pediatrician. So really nice lady. So far I know one neighbor already, and I even got her number. I was like, hey, let's exchange numbers, because I was like, hey, so when you were closing, and we were asking her questions about
exactly.
It's helpful. It's really helpful.
Well, and I'm all about community. So many people, and some people, they're like, I don't even know my neighbors. I just stroll up in my house. That is not me. That is not how like I said, I want to know who crazy. And so I'm like, we know finding out. And no, I'm not going to be over there bugging you and doing all that all the time. I don't need to do that, but I want to know, lay eyes on you, and know who you are, and then we're good.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. Yes, I will don't go over there. As we're over there, we've all been going over there. So as we see people moving into some of these houses, we meet them. And kind of, because that is one thing, and it's also in the kind of like the tips, saying goodbye, getting ready to emotionally, if you are kind of, attached to where you live. I know like my in-laws did that. So I lived there for so long. Yeah. So you kind of do need to say goodbye and like get ready to be like, okay, we're leaving. And not just leave and not finish that business. And
I like that.
Yeah, because we do really love this neighborhood. So I would really like, and for Wesley, she kindergarten through 4th grade, she went to this elementary school on the street, and everybody knows everybody. So I think we need to say goodbye, like officially.
Yeah, that'll be good.
To the neighborhood.
Well, and I want to say just one thing that I just thought of. I didn't even tell you about this, Jess. But I think it's good because some of you guys probably need to move. You want to move, and I'm here to encourage you. So let me tell you, if you love where you are, then have at it. But some of y'all need to move. And guess what you can do?
How will they know?
They already know. They can't stand the place themselves. When we move places and they're like, oh, you're moving here. When I see people do that about their own place that they live in, I'm like, you need to go. Because you don't even know how to accept people here. I love when people love their town and they're like, you're going to love it here. I love that. Yeah. And so I'm always paying attention to that. So I'm kind of judgy.
So I'm like, who they are. These people that you're talking about.
Yeah, because they can't even accept new. They're like, why would you come here? And there's always some in every town. Living in college towns, people really love it and they're there for a reason. So I usually have good experiences. Yeah. Tulsa is not a college town, so it'll be interesting to see what people think and what they say. And here outside, people are like, Oklahoma, I don't care about that. I'm talking about people that live here. But this is what I want to let you know. There is something called Tulsa Remote. So you can move. You got to work from home. You got to be an entrepreneur, have a job from home or whatever, and they will pay you $10,000 because they want you to move to your city. So I'm going to apply for it. It's called Tulsa Remote. And they also have Topeka, Kansas is doing it. I don't know what other places, but anybody listen to this, get online and start looking. Find out what other places are doing it. They started it before COVID, I think, and then they kind of kept going through. So we had people who wanted to buy a house, or they're in their house working, a lot of them anyway, and a lot of them still will be. So if they can be remote, they can live anywhere, and they'll pay you $10,000. I think you get $1,500 and then so much for the rest of the year each month. And then you can, it's yours.
It's yours. That's nice.
And then you can leave. You don't even have to stay. Of course they want you to stay.
Just kidding. Like Tulsa Remote.
Yeah, you can go do Topeka remote. I don't know. But I'm just saying that's out there. So you guys think about your kids, think about people that would apply
Yeah.
to, because some people need
Yeah.
to get out and some people need to change. And I mean, who knows? They may meet their life partner there or whatever. I don't know. But
Yeah.
I hadn't heard of it. And so if you go to YouTube, look up Tulsa remote, and I think, and then I somewhere I heard about they do it in Topeka. So I'm guessing there may be other places, or it may be on the radar. I mean, and it's totally like there's no strings attached. You got you got to move there, and you have to live inside Tulsa. So right now we're looking at homes outside and then homes right on the edge, because so a Harlem Globetrotter has moved here. She was one of the Tulsa remote people, because she's like, I can get on a plane and go where I need to go. So that's $10,000. How cool is that?
That's really cool.
Yeah. So
yeah,
Sandy, you have to live there for a year. So if you guys work from home or you know someone who does, I mean, why not?
It's really good to be familiar with like all of the programs that are out there. I remember when I was in college, how my counselor was like, there are so many things people don't take advantage of. And he was like, apply to all these. And I got so many things. He's like, yeah, because nobody takes the time to apply.
Yep.
So he's like, that's why you'll get it. And he's like, and you're a woman and you're a minority.
Yeah, he's like, go ahead. And yep.
He's like, go ahead and try it. Okay, so that's great. And then I was just going to say too, always supporting with emotional oils too. I was diffusing lemongrass when Stephanie was here, because it's the oil of cleansing. If you're trying to declutter, I don't know if you knew that. Okay. So when you're decluttering, you diffuse lemongrass. And then I like lemongrass, tea tree, and like some citrus, because it makes that Fruit Loop smell. But then it mentally is helping you stimulate that declutter. And then obviously there's really motivating oils that are like, you know, stuff that'll get you, okay, we got to get
elevation for me. I didn't know that I knew that it was for cleansing and it was really good for putting in your diffuser, but I didn't know that it was like for decluttering and kind of getting you along. So I didn't know that. So that's cool.
It's powerful and cleansing within a house, room, or office. It helps individuals with pack rat tendencies to courageously let go of things they no longer need.
Well, Jacoby we kind of got into a whole thing, because he's like, I said, well, we can just get rid of everything. He's like, Mom, you cannot just get rid of everything. He was like, what about, I said, because that bookshelf, you don't need that. And I was going through and he was like, can I have my bookshelf? Can we have something?
Mom, let me have something. And Lisa just ruthless. Chop, chop, chop.
Exactly. I'm like, okay.
Chopping that boy. Let him have something.
Let him have something, his bookshelf. I'm like that. I said, all you boys have had that. It's at its time. He's like, Mom, but that's why we want to keep it.
Oh, see, Wesley's like, take it all. I'll get everything new. I'm like, with what money?
That's funny. See, Wesley, yeah.
Everything. Oh yeah, Wesley's like, we will get everything new. All new.
That is too cute. Yeah, Jacoby is more on the sentimental side, and I'm like, yes, let's be off with it. But I'll let him keep his bookshelf. Now I see why parents end up with so much stuff, because when Trey moved, I was like, where's he going to put all this stuff? This like these trophies, and he doesn't have room for that, so it's with us.
Yeah.
So it's like now we got to pack it around. I'm like, this is how parents end up with all this stuff.
Or kids, if your parents are like that and you end up with their stuff, you got to think about who's going to end up with your stuff. Although my mom keeping all my stuff, man, it's kind of nice. When I went back through and I found a letter when I was 5, and I found my first essay that I wrote, and I'm like, man, Mom, you kept all this. That was cool.
Well, one thing I've learned is, because with my grandchild, I sent her dad's baby books to her. I should have kept them for my house, because now they're gone. They don't stay settled enough. And I'm like, so grandma needs her own stuff. So when they come to your house, you're like, this is your dad's, because some people, that's not their thing. And so I ended up now all that's gone. Right. So that's one thing I've learned too. It's like, okay, because we got a little bit of time in here. Our one and only granddaughter, I mean, she's about to be a preteen. And then these guys better not have any for a while. So it's like, we got this time of being like no littles, no kids. So it's like, so we're looking at houses. We're like, we don't even have to worry about what neighborhood it's in. Where you want to live in the hood, where you want to live.
don't want to live in the hood.
You want to live downtown? You want to live in a, where you want to live? Like we have no, huh?
You want some adventure? You want to live in the hood? There might be some drive-bys.
Yeah, you can see Jesse's face, Mr. Security. What?
Exactly. With your business, all of a sudden I'm like, Felicia, you're attracting a certain element in your business.
Yeah. Oh man. But it's so funny not to have to like worry. We always had to move, you know, where the best school district was. And then when we were out east, we did private schools. So you gotta function, you gotta pay that, and then that goes against the regular bill. So it's like, okay, well, we gotta live over here.
Yeah.
We don't have to think about it in that way. So that part is like, wow. Jacoby is like, man, I might as well not even be here. Y'all not really bothered about what I need, huh?
But that was another one of the stressors of moving is finance. Usually it's expensive. It is not. People stress about it because it costs. It is not, you know, cheap to move, whether you do most of it yourself or not. It is not inexpensive. Just boxes, which we've had a lot of help with that. But somebody said, Felicita said she called you. You're so funny. And that made me think like of felicity and like the root of your name is happy and joyful. I'm like, oh, how happy. I never really thought about that. The root of your name is happy, happiness and joy.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. You're funny, happy.
It fits me.
It does fit you. I can't imagine you another name. Okay. Well, we've been talking for 40 minutes. You know, we try to talk for 30, but whatever happens. So hopefully if this has helped, if you're getting ready to move, or any type of major life change, like perspective, why can't it just be fun? Why can't it just be exciting? Why can't we just approach it differently? Trust me, I've approached it all different ways, and it's a decision. If you want it to be stressful, it can be, and it will be. And it'll take, the thing is, it takes life. It's like in The Princess Bride when they suck the life out of him and put him in that torture machine. Do you want
and like you said, it's a choice, and I think I've always made the choice to be like, wherever I live, there's good people there. Like if I'm in a city, then then enjoy the city things. Do not be in the city worrying about, oh, I wanted to be on the farm. You better enjoy the city. When you're on the farm, then enjoy that. Like take it for what it is. Ain't no place the Garden of Eden. I keep telling people that. Like you do the best you can with what you got.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I love it. I love your perspective. I think I need more of that. I think I've grown to more of that, but I'm definitely.
That 20 pounds took a toll on you, huh?
And I think it was scary, Glenn, too, because I told you I didn't want to move out here. He looked at me because he was living in California for a while, and that's why he started working, kind of like with Jesse. He was living. Jesse went ahead and started working. Head to California and left Wesley and I behind and started working. So he didn't see me for a little while. When he saw me, he was like, "Oh, so sorry." I'm like,
Yep.
Anyway, all right, guys. Thank you for joining us. But yeah, we'll tune in with you guys next week, and we will keep you apprised of our progress. And of course, we'll talk about something fun. And
let us know. You guys let us know what you want to talk. What do you guys want to talk about? You guys know what we like to talk about, but let us know what you guys want to talk about, what you want to know more about as far as health and habits and hacks and those kind of things.
Please, because we can talk about anything, as you can see. All right, guys. Have a wonderful night.